What's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you again. This time we're going to go over to CNN, and this is CNN Investigates. Um, a federal grand jury investigating Kansas City cop who allegedly exploited and terrorized black residents for decades. The article is by Scott Glover and Danielle A. Medina. It says federal prosecutors in Kansas have launched a criminal grand jury investigation into a retired Kansas City police detective who was the subject of swirling allegations that he exploited and terrorized black residents of the city's North End for decades, CNN has learned. Roger G. is accused of being a dirty cop who used the power of his badge to exploit vulnerable black women, including black women who worked as prostitutes. According to the 2019 civil complaint filed by a man exonerated of double murder charges investigated by G, the veteran detective who retired from the Kansas Police Department in 2010 at the rank of captain, was also accused of being on the payroll of the local kingpin, not drug lord kingpin, of a framing people for crimes they did not commit. The unproven allegations have roiled the community for years and recently attracted the attention of hip-hop mogul Jay-Z. The rapper's social justice-oriented group, Team Rock, took out a full-page ad in the Washington Post last week calling for the alleged police corruption in Kansas City, one of the worst examples of abuse of power in U.S. history. Okay? And this is the gentleman, this is a related article. A wrongly convicted man who spent 23 years in prison will receive $1.5 million from the state of Kansas. And this is the gentleman right here. And that's the other story. Okay? It says G. Gorbrowski. I'm just going to call him G. Age 69, has not been charged with any crimes nor faced any discipline in connection with the highly inflammatory allegations against him. During a civil court disposition last year, he repeatedly invoked the constitutional right against self-incrimination, pleading the fifth over and over again. An attorney representing G in the civil case declined comment, citing the pending litigation. While the city's newspaper and police reform activists have been clamoring for action, prosecutors have been quiet, calling witnesses to testify about G since last August, two sources familiar with the matter told CNN. Among the two who testified is Terry Ziegler, a former chief of department who spent 3 years as G's partner. Another officer summoned to testify and is mentioned as a possible cooperating witness in the civil court disposition of a woman who was accused G of assaulting her. A third party called to the testify purposely walked in on G during an encounter with a woman in his office at the police station. Federal authorities declined to comment. Unlike witnesses, prosecutors are governed by strict secrecy rules governing grand jury proceedings. Without comment from prosecutors, CNN could not determine the full scope of the investigation, its focus, or how many witnesses have been called. Zellert told CNN he spent roughly 2 hours before the grand jury in the Topeka, Kansas federal courthouse last month answering questions about his role working homicide cases with G from 1999 to 2002. He said he told the panel he had previously worked in the department's internal affairs unit and was unaware of G's purposed reputation for misconduct. Z, who retired from his job as chief in September 2019, said he never witnessed G commit any crimes or any misconduct during their time together. They were told to understand how I didn't know, or was I trying to cover up things about Roger that I knew, Z said. I don't mind talking and telling people because I don't have anything to hide. Z said he and G did not socialize outside of work and that he had little insight into his personal life. He recalled one incident that he said raised his suspicion, telling the grand jury about once calling G's home in the middle of the night about a homicide that had just occurred. A woman answered the phone and said G was not home. Moments later, when Z got G on the phone, Z told detectives denied that was any woman at the house. On another occasion, he said he learned G was getting married and that he had not been invited into the wedding, despite being his partner. The dude was very secretive, Z told CNN. I mean, he would want you to talk all day about your family, but he would talk very little about his own. Z said G appeared despondent when allegations against him became public, and the two met for breakfast at an IHOP restaurant. He was very emotional, Z recalled. Z said he did not take G's mental state to mean he was guilty, but that he had this black cloud over his name that he felt he could do nothing to remove. He said he encountered G to seek counseling, but added that he had not seen him since that meeting. Z said he was aware of more than half a dozen former KCKPD officers who have either already testified or have been subpoenaed to appear this week before the grand jury. Z said prosecutors had also subpoenaed approximately a dozen case files from the department in 2019. Shortly before he retired, he said he did not know any details of the case. After leaving KCKPD in 2010, G worked for 6 years as a detective at a nearby department before retiring for good in 2016. Z said he was not privy to the details of the federal investigation, but that based on what he knows, he found the allegations against his former partner difficult to believe. I think everybody has a hard time believing that this could be true, he said. G first came under fire for public scrutiny in 2016 for his work in the double murder conviction of Lamont McTighe, who was serving 23 years in prison, was freed in 2017 when the district attorney for the county, which included Kansas, concluded the case represented a manifest injustice. Okay, so that's the end of it, and basically that is what is going on currently as far as this case. Nothing has been established in terms of an indictment for charges. I'm assuming that it is merely for fact finding right now, with the grand jury investigations and interviews that are currently going on. Hopefully they will get to the bottom of this, and if in fact found guilty, he will be sentenced with the same sentence that many other people have been sentenced with fairly. Okay? And with that being said, thank you so much. I know this was kind of a long video, and I thank each and every one of you for coming. As always, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to drop down and comment in the comment section so we can get the discussion going about this. And with that being said, you guys, I will get back with you in the next video.